Hello, welcome to this little video on our InfoTrack's Victorian Property Enquiries update. We've just made a few changes to our user interface that you might have noticed over the last few weeks to month. And I'm joined today by Belinda Schultz, our product manager, to go through some of those updates, why we've made some of the changes, and also go through a couple of tips that when using the system, just to make sure you're getting more accurate information back. Cool. So we'll jump into a little bit of an update as to why we've made some of these changes. Belinda, if you want to join me, just talking about some of the reasons why, or
Absolutely.
adding into some of the things, or expanding on some of these points here. Basically, we've made some of these updates where the previous system was a little bit dated and becoming increasingly difficult to diagnose and fix bugs. Yeah, we were aligning our system to more easily fit into other modern systems that have been built around us. Yeah,
So you would have noticed that we have updated a lot of our other product menus, and we wanted to make sure that you're getting the same benefits and less data entry as what you are across the property inquiries menu.
yeah, great. And reducing, we also want to reduce the amount of orders that were going into error by changing our order fulfillment on the back end.
This makes our orders more resilient to errors, and also we're seeing a reduction in the percentage of errored orders already that have been placed on the new platform.
Nice. And look, we've also increased our ability to release more frequently. That means we're going to be able to fix platform errors and improve the platform more frequently if there are any issues.
So yes, with our previous version of the website, we were limited to how frequently we could release. We were restricted to only releasing on certain days and times. So now we can release throughout the day to fix bugs and issues that are being experienced on the fly.
Excellent. Cool. So what are the challenges with this migration or any large scale migration? There's always a few issues that you run across when you're trying to move things over onto a new platform. So, sorry, if you want to speak, Bill.
Sure. So this is obviously a large scale platform migration. Lifted an entire infrastructure across to new modernized infrastructure. So with that, it's always going to bring quite a few challenges, specifically in Victoria, when some of the other states only rely on one or two types of identifiers to verify their property. We are obviously in Victoria having multiple verifications, whether it be the SPI number, the SPN, the Volfol Crown allotment. Those kind of identifiers are only within Victoria. We tried to keep within a national framework to support clients that are transacting across multiple jurisdictions. However, because of these complexities that exist in Vic alone, we had to think outside of the box and build things slightly differently. Some of the certificates we order are returned through many different methods. So we had to implement and integrate with internal platforms, many different internal platforms to make sure that they're all communicating and talking correctly for certificate fulfillment. Victorian property inquiries have complex rules and edge cases that only come up in a small percentage of properties. Each council and authority has unique supplementary information. So by that I mean some councils for a building certificate will require you to provide the purchaser and vendor details, where another council offering the same building certificate might only require the purchaser's details. So we had to build out logic to apply those rules and make sure it wasn't a blanket use case across all of the certificates. So we are mapping now or asking only for the information if it's required as a mandatory field from that council or certificate.
Excellent.
And of course, we also have many different integrated practice management systems. So there's also some challenges with being able to map the information and the different formatting used across those practice management.
Excellent. Cool. So why we've kind of gone through some of the reasons why why we've changed some of the challenges of moving over to the new system as well. But what we're really what we're helping to do is to provide a few new benefits to the way we've changed the system, or this new improved system. A lot of that comes down to implementing bug fixes, new features, and different products into the system much faster. So when we do have something for you, we can get it out quicker, or if there is some sort of change, we can adopt to that a lot faster than we used to. We've changed the way that orders are processed, which is already, if you'll talk to that as well, Belle, already starting to reduce some of the errors that we're seeing.
That's correct. So we've moved to a asynchronous order fulfillment, which basically means that the order completion is more reliable. And if one of the certificate errors because we haven't met a certain requirement, or there's an authority outage with that specific certificate, that we can still complete all the other orders that were placed as part of that bundle. We can also recover from unscheduled system outages a lot faster than previously. We've used things like Google Autocomplete, where there will be also less keying or less manual entry required by the users. We've replaced some of our quick picks with bundling that can be configured from client account settings and created for individual users or across accounts. We've improved our offline workflow, which gives the ability for users to manually verify their property and continue to order certificates when the authority is down or has an outage. We've also now got a new feature with title alerts. You can nominate up to 5 email addresses to receive the notifications, where previously this was only 1 nominated email address. You'll see a lot more visible icons and tooltips for intuitive ordering across our screens. And we've also improved the workflow for where multiple postcodes can apply to a specific property. And error messaging has also been enhanced, where we're actually posting the error message that is returned directly from the authority.
Yep, excellent. So we'll also have things like our map reference errors will now show up on the lookup page. That just basically, we'll show it a little bit later, but it means you don't have to jump between screens if you do run into an error. The property name will also now show up in the lookup. So if there is, let's say you have a north or a south tower, that will show up in the lookup to make sure you're putting that in the property address when you order things. Purchaser details, or do you want to speak to that, Belle? The purchaser details
Sure.
not known?
So one of the things that we observed with legacy behavior was a lot of these authorities were asking for details of clients when ordering certain types of certificates that were not yet known, such as the purchaser details or the settlement date. We understand that a lot of the time you're ordering these certificates in preparation for compiling contracts. So at this point, the property hasn't even gone on the market yet. So we have added checkboxes for these fields, and if they are not yet known, you can simply check the box. It will collapse those fields, so you're no longer required to do the manual workaround, which was entering not known or putting in the current date or a future date as the settlement date. It will still provide back-end information to that authority to make sure there's no delays in processing the certificate. But yeah, it's removing that manual workaround.
Excellent. Alrighty, well, I'm going to jump into the platform now and actually show some of the changes, as well as go through a couple of tips for when you are jumping into the platform, just to get more accurate information back, or make sure that your certificate orders are placed with all the correct property details. Excellent. So what I'll do, I'm actually going to start off with a package order. So a lot of firms will start a property matter by ordering just the title and the plan to begin with, just to see if there's anything untoward with the property or anything they need to look up further. We are still, as we always have, allowing you to do this and have our system detect if you've already ordered these in the past when you come to order your other certificates. So I'm just going to start a title package here. You have the ability to look up by a volume and folio reference, or I'm actually going to go through and do a via address for this particular one. So I'll pop in the details here. If this is where you'll notice we now have a lookup or we're using our Google autocomplete to fill out the rest of the address details so you don't have to type as much. I'll do that lookup. And with some of the changes here, basically it will allow you to now select whether you want to do a package search or you would like to order the title alone from the address search once that screen comes up.
It's worth noting here too, back if you're verifying the property via or creating a package or a title search via the vol, you can now use a spacing between the volume and folio, a backslash or a forward slash, depending on where you're getting your data from. It could be an Excel spreadsheet that's been provided to you, and now you have the ability to use the different separating components.
Excellent. Cool. So we've got this ability here now where we can create a package or order a title search on its own. You can also order plan images, but you'll note if you do order a copy of the plan by itself and you're going to be ordering certificates later, we recommend you come to it as a package or you'll need to reorder that plan, which we want to avoid. So I'll come and create a package for this particular property. I've got my registered search statement copy of plan, going to order that one.
And you'll see that given they're the most commonly ordered certificates, they're defaulted to check the box, but you can always go back and uncheck the copy of plan. Register search is a mandatory requirement to order as part of a package order.
Excellent. So what I am going to do here, I'm going to grab my, well, I've got my title search and copy of the plan here. I'm going to grab my volume and folio now that I know it. So this is only if you're going to be ordering a title and a plan or ordering a copy of the title and you're going to be coming and doing the rest of your certificates later. To ensure that you are, it is going to detect that you have done the title and plan on a previous matter, or if within the same matter but in a previous order, you just need to make sure you're using the volume and folio in some way. So I'm just going to do the lookup here. So here is where I'll show you a little bit of our edit function as well. This was also in our old system, but again, the hot tip is to make sure that you're editing these details to reflect exactly what you're after. So you'll see for some reason, the authorities come back with level 11 only. I'm actually looking for level 5. I can change the details in here. That's the same as if you want to add in unit details or change lot and plan numbers or anything like that. Just make sure your details reflect what you're ordering.
And you've got the tooltip in the address. So if you hover over that address, it'll show you exactly how to edit the address.
Yep, there we go. That's that one there. Cool.
And you'll see it returns all the previous property particulars there, the SBI, Crown allotments, anything that is returned in the response from the authority to us, we show you within the screens.
Excellent. Okay, so this is your property inquiries, or this is your property inquiries list. It's got all your property certificates on here. It's pretty similar to what it used to be, but the big change, there's a couple of changes here. Essentially, you'll now see anything you've ordered in the past that you don't need to reorder. We'll have this green pill here that says ordered. That means that I don't have to reorder my copy of title or copy of the plan. And we have changed some of the functionality on this screen or these screens. So I'm now able to go through and order other certificates. So I'll order my land information certificate, Vic Roads, my water information certificate, and my land tax. I'll order a planning as well, planning certificate, and
Land tax
certificate. There we go. And you will have noticed is there's a bundle up the top here on the right. So this is something we've changed a little bit, but it gives you the opportunity to select certain certificates or pick a bundle of certificates that you order for that particular council. So the next time you come in, you don't have to go through and tick all your certificates. So I'm just going to call this one my bundle. Create that bundle. And the next time I come in, I don't need to go through and select all my certificates. I can just click my bundle and it will tick everything off for me.
And you'll see there too, Angus, you can create a bundle for yourself as an individual user, or you can create the bundle for your entire account.
Excellent.
And these can be configured from the account settings page. If you need to update your bundles or rename them, you just need to go into your account settings and you'll have the ability to adjust your bundles.
Cool. So just changing, or some of the changes we've made here, when you are adding in more information or we request it from you, it's now going to pop up down the bottom. So we can select that we're doing a purchases application here for the land tax, and you'll see the details on this page are slightly different to what you're used to. So we do have this settlement date up the top. We are adding in very shortly that if you do not know this settlement dates, you'll have the option to pick unknown. We also have made changes to the way that the details pull through here, or the different information that you need. So there is this tick box for proprietor details. If they are the registered proprietor, we will shrink that so you don't have to fill any details in about it. And if the purchaser details are not known, you'll be able to tick that box and it will not ask you for purchaser details as well.
And if there is another vendor on title, you simply click the link there that says add another vendor, and you can add another vendor or up to however many individual vendors there are on the title.
Yeah, it's important to note, if you are using a practice management system and this was mapping information in for you onto these screens, it will still be doing that in their new system as well. So you won't be ever entering any more information. We've just cut back on the amount of information you have to enter on these screens.
And as we mentioned previously, I might just point out here too, Angus, that for this particular scenario that we're showing as an example, we had checked that the state land tax certificate was being ordered as a purchaser application. So of course it was asking for purchaser details. And again, that is a mandatory authority requirement. If you, however, ordered the state revenue certificate as a vendor application, it would only ask you for the vendor details.
Excellent. Cool. So just proceeding to a confirmation screen. I won't order anything, but just so you know, you do have this screen where it will still confirm all your order details. If you need to edit, you have the option in here. It'll just bring you back to previous screens to change. Yeah, so I'm just ordering a copy of plan here just to show, or another copy of title and copy of plan to show some of the emailing details, or how we email these out to you now if you set up your settings. So we have a copy of title and a copy of plan there. I'll place the order. And proceeding on to the next screen, regardless of what you've ordered, you'll see a little message here of where your emails or where your searches will be emailed to. Now I've gone and I've changed my settings in InfoTrack, so it will automatically email me my certificates whenever I make an order. If you haven't, you should have a tick box here to allow you to email them to a new email address. So just quickly going into the settings that we have for emails, because it's something I'd recommend you set up if you are constantly emailing the emailing certificates back to yourself. You can change these under your preferences under email and set them up or set up the way that you'd like to be emailed them. So we have an option to always email yourself the completed orders. If you tick that off, you will get emails with any orders that are completed. If you want them as PDFs, well, that's if they're not already a PDF, you can tick that one off as well. If you want them merged into one document in the same email, you can tick this option off as well. And then these options down the bottom are all if you would like to group your orders into a single email, but you haven't necessarily ticked off that you want to merge them into one PDF. So you get one email with all the separate certificates attached. Cool. So going back to property inquiries, I'm going to jump in now to just a couple of unique use cases that we come across when we're doing searches in Victoria. So there are a couple of issues, or when it comes to certain rural properties or strata titles like apartment buildings, you may have returned a few, or you may have a few unknown titles returned to you. The easiest way to avoid having to order extra titles is to go in and edit the details on this lookup screen here. So we'll see for this particular property, I've got 2 unknown titles in here. I'm only interested in this volume and folio that's pulled back. I can remove the unknowns. There is also an extra lot and plan in here that that's not relevant to the property that I'm ordering on. I'm going to remove that as well. And this will avoid having unknown titles come in on the next screen.
And of course, in turn, having to pay the land index fee that the authority charges to provide those volume folios.
Correct. Yeah. So this is something that we'll always have to do just based on the information coming back from the titles office. If it doesn't quite match what you're after, jump in there and change whatever to whatever you're looking for. The less information you have in there, the less titles are likely to pull back. But obviously, there's a minimum amount of info you need. You need at least a title, at least a lot plan reference, at least one council property number, and at least an address in there. And occasionally you'll also require a map reference as well. Cool.
And yep, just to make that clear, there are certain types of certificates that are provided that do require map references, but as Angus pointed out, majority it's just the title reference, volume of folio, lot and plan, and address.
Yeah, excellent. Cool. So we'll see. Look, I've ordered this title before as well. That said that I've ordered this one, and there's only one title on this property. If I hadn't removed the previous details, I'd have 3 copies of titles and 2 plans that would need to be ordered before I can order other certificates as well. Cool. So we also have, well, another common one that pops up is if there is some sort of error from the authority. When we're going to put through the particular lookup or we're doing the lookup, we have now made it so it shows up on screen for you. So this is when we were talking before about the map reference issues or the map reference information at the authority not quite matching what's expected. It'll bring back an error like this.
And this particular error, Angus, was previously experienced within our legacy system. It was just that the map reference error messages were actually appearing in the catalog list. So your next screen, this makes it more beneficial to the users because they can open up that edit modal, remove the invalid map reference, and then proceed to create their catalog list.
Yeah, excellent. So before you'd need to go into the inquiry list, create the list, and then it would pop up with the error. So we've just moved where the errors are showing to make it a little bit easier for you. Alrighty, so that one's gone through as well.
So by removing that map reference, we're able to produce a entire catalogue list where all the property certificates available by that authority are being returned and available to order.
Excellent. So while we've made these changes, there have been a few unforeseen bugs that have arisen, and we really appreciate everyone's patience in reporting these errors back to us, allowing us to fix them as quickly as possible. The new system's allowing us to fix them really quickly, which is great. And often we're able to fix things within the same day as the issues being raised, which was just not really possible in our old platform. We're now at the stage where we're confident we've accounted for a majority of like edge cases, like things like rural properties or the map references we just showed there. So you'd be able to place orders without requiring any support or workarounds. We're also at a point where many of the issues are not caused by missing parts of the new system, but they're down to missing or incorrect information between the different authorities. Obviously, if you are unable to complete a search for any reason for a property in Victoria while we finish off rolling out this system, please contact our help desk, contact your account manager so we can work out where the problem lies. If it is with us, we'll build a fix really quickly, or if it is with the information on the property, we'll help you find a different way to search on it so you can get what you need. All right. Well, look, thanks very much for joining me, Belle, and running through this with me. Really appreciate it. And thanks to everyone for joining or clicking in this little video. Look, again, like I said, if you need any further assistance with any of this, please reach out to us.